Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Mercury. This is a music Q&A episode featuring questions from my biggest ever public subscriber, the one and only Myke C-Town. If you don't know who Myke C-Town is, he's basically a legend in the Atlanta metal scene, and he used to be a part of the Dead End Hip Hop crew. A bunch of guys that would talk about rap albums every month or so, every 2 months or so, something like that. If you want to know anything about hip hop, metal, hardcore punk, black metal, some neo-folk too, as he does like Current 93, and some goth rock too, as he is a big fan of The Cure. Make sure to subscribe to Myke C-Town. He's an absolute legend, and yeah, shout out to Myke C-Town for always being the GOAT, man. I've got these questions from Myke C-Town that he wanted content creators like me and others to answer them if he wanted them to be answered. Why can't my brain work today? Anyways, we're starting off with the first question here. What's your all-time favorite song? I don't really care if people call me emo or cringe or whatever if I admit this, but it's Tears Don't Fall by Bullet for My Valentine. It's just a perfect song, man. I cried when they played that song when I saw them earlier this year with Trivium in Toronto. It's so good. Would you hear me? If I called her name, would you hold me? If you knew my shame. Oh, so freaking good, man. It's such a metalcore classic. It's a classic, right? Like it came out in like 2006 or whatever the heck. It's a classic by now. Do you prefer listening to albums or playlists? Me, myself, I'm almost always an album guy. I like to hear things like the artist intended originally. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to it all jumbled up and all shuffled up when it's an album like 10,000 Suns by Linkin Park, where it's supposed to flow from song to song, right? So, yeah, I like to hear things like the artist intended. So, therefore, I'm an album guy. Next up. What's your go-to song for a road trip? I know they've become kind of a meme alongside all the other stomp clap hey bands of the early 2010s, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Mumford & Sons has quite a few great songs for road trips. My favorite to put on when I'm in the van with my dad is the song Guiding Light off of the 2018 album Delta. And I know that I was just on the line. Don't just sit with folded hands and become blind. And even when there is no star in sight, you'll always be my only guiding light. I don't care if people find them cringe these days. I love that band. They're one of my all-time favorite non-metal bands. Next up, which song always makes you feel happy? To me, it's Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. The energy of that song, it just immediately makes me happy with all the lightning speed guitar solos and everything. Some of it still blows my mind, just like it did back when I heard it on Guitar Hero 3 back in the day. And that was one of the very first metal songs where I was like, whoa, what is this? Why is this so fast? Yeah, I still, the guitar riff is so legendary now. Just the oh, so good. Is there a song that reminds you of your childhood? My answer to this question is the live version of Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry, off of that very famous Legend Greatest Hits compilation. I hear that song and instantly I am teleported back to sitting on the wooden backyard porch as a little kid in the summer, sometimes with my twin brother. What was the last concert you went to? Well, it was the Summer of Live tour at Budweiser Stage in Toronto back in July of this year. 8 metalcore bands in one day. It was a long day. I think my favorite of that whole concert was I Prevail. I had never seen them before, and I thought they were pretty good. Also, There was a lot of fire flying around between all of the headliners that night, especially with Parkway Drive, with the spinning drum riser. I thought that was pretty cool. Next question. How do I discover new music? A few different sources for me actually. Bandcamp, some YouTube channels, and through people I meet on Discord servers. For Bandcamp, I'd like to shout out Joma Bar and Sasha Von Carl, whatever that Swiss guy's name is. They're pretty good for black metal recommendations. Some YouTube channels I like to shout out, other than Myke C-Town, is the Heavy Metal Journal with Lindsay, shout out to her. And Fourth Mate, shout out to those guys. Those guys are awesome. My good friend, Metal Meltdown. And on the Angry Metal Guy Discord, there is a recommendations thread that I sometimes discover new bands and new albums from too. So shout out to the Angry Metal Guy Discord server. You guys are awesome. What's your favorite genre of music? I put anything related to black metal, like post-black metal, atmospheric black metal, black days, and etc. Metalcore, and neo-folk. I also like a bit of dungeon synths too, like Secret Stairways and Keys to Oneria. Do you have a favorite movie soundtrack? I don't listen to movie soundtracks on my own, as I'd rather watch the movie that has the soundtrack in it. But my favorite, personally, would probably be the one for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, plainly because of my nostalgia watching it when I was a kid. Also, I really used to love the soundtrack for the first direct-to-video movie based on the Bionicle action figures that LEGO used to make back in the 2000s called Bionicle Mask of Light. Although, to be honest, I don't know how much that soundtrack holds up these days because I watched an upload of the whole film here on YouTube probably 5 years ago, and the voice acting was freaking terrible. But 9-year-old me, given that it was Bionicle, loved that movie. I watched it all the freaking time on VHS back in 2003 and 2004. Yeah, I was obsessed with Bionicle when I was a kid. Like, that was my thing, man. What song makes you feel nostalgic? Sugar, we're going down by Fall Out Boy. It reminds me of me and my twin brother loving that band when we were around 9 or 10 years old. Somewhere around that age. Man, pre-reunion Fall Out Boy was so freaking good. The chorus to that song, such an all-timer. Sugar, we're going down swinging. Oh man, it's so good. Next question. Are you more into the lyrics or the beat of a song? Now, to me, it largely depends upon the band. If that beat has a very interesting rhythm, like for example the song The Price from my favorite progressive metal band Leprous, then that'll work for me. But for a band like the RABM band Ashes Fire, where the lyrics are saying super important things, I pay attention to those lyrics because that band has a lot to say about the state of the world we're currently living in. Even if that album is almost like 3 years old at this point, it came out in 2022 and it's one of the best albums of the 2020s. Probably the best metal album of the 2020s, in my honest opinion. Do you like karaoke? What's your go-to song? Now, I don't really do karaoke, but if I were to do it, I would probably go with All Star from Smash Mouth. I know it's a bit of a basic pick for somebody like me who grew up in the 2000s, but come on, it's catchy, like somebody. I don't need to say any more than that, and you'll probably get that song stuck in your head. Next up, what's a song that you can listen to on repeat? I will give 2 answers to that question. First is Into the Fire by my favorite band of all time, Asking Alexandria, and Skim by Bullet for My Valentine, which is a very underrated song by Bullet. The things I'm hot and deep beneath my gun, beneath my gun. I'm obsessed with that song, man. Both of those songs are obscenely catchy, especially that Bullet for My Valentine song. The things I'm hot and deep beneath my gun, beneath my gun. So good. Who is your favorite frontman? Okay, metal elitist, they're probably gonna get really ticked off when I mention this band, but I don't care. They're one of my favorites, okay? Alright, my favorite frontman right now is Vessel from Sleep Token. Just the way he moves his hands with the mask and everything, and the way he puts his emotions into his performance is nothing short of magical. And he is not afraid to have a little fun with his dancing stuff that he does for certain songs like, you know you hypnotize me, oh yeah, and doing push-ups on stage and stuff like that. Just being a silly guy on stage without saying a single word, and I love that. Honorable mention for this would also have to be Einar from Leprous. I saw them last year for the first time in a decade, and Einar just commanded that stage, man. Plus his voice is one of the best voices I've ever heard. He's just an incredible singer. I'm just getting emotional just thinking about his voice. It's just that good. Next up, what's your favorite love song? Now, this took me the longest time to answer. A few days in fact. But as soon as a certain lyric from this song came into my head, I knew what it was. Rose of Sharon by Killswitch Engage. Howard Jones is freaking phenomenal on that song. And it's basically the Token 2000 melodic metalcore love song. It won't be long. We'll meet again. My love for you is everlasting. It won't be long. We'll meet again. My love for you is everlasting. What song can you sing every word to with a gun to your head? Now, I don't really like how this question is phrased. It's kind of a violent question. But I'll answer this anyways. Tears don't fall again. What music did your parents listen to when you were growing up? My dad listens and still listens to a lot of Jimmy Buffett and Canadian country rock bands like Blue Rodeo and The Band. He also loves Sarah McLachlan, who I've heard a lot of growing up. My mom used to love that 2002 Maroon 5 album called Songs About Jane, and she also loved The Beautiful Letdown by the Christian rock band Switchfoot. Both of my parents loved the Dixie Chicks, especially the album Fly, which got pretty regular rotation in my house when me and my twin brother were growing up. Are there any artists you can't stand? Any NSBM band. I'm not gonna name names, because if you happen to be aware of that awful, ideologically dangerous, small niche in black metal, you know who they are. And that's all I'm gonna say about that one. Now, in terms of artists that are actually successful though, it's gonna be both Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch. I used to be into both bands when I was first getting into metal around the age of 13. And both of them have aged really horribly. I am baffled these days that people over the age of 16, even grown adults, actually like Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch sometimes. Because both bands just sound like juvenile dribble to me nowadays. And now there's also some stuff that they've done outside of the music over the past handful of years that have become yet another reason why I don't like both bands. But for the sake of sticking to the music only, not even gonna get into that. Future Wheels here from the editing table. I realized that my comments on Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch were rather harsh. If you're somebody over the age of 16 that likes their music, continue to do so. Don't let my comments about Disturbed and Five Finger Death Punch sway you away from liking their music. I'm just saying how I feel. If you're a fan of both bands, if you're a fan of one of them, continue to like them. Back to the video. Do you prefer live music or recorded music? It really depends upon the band. Some bands are better live than they are on the record, while other bands are better in the studio than they are live. For an example of the former, Black Parade. I don't care for them on the record at all, as they are very bland and safe and very accessible melodic black metal. But when I saw them live a couple of years ago opening up for Wolf in the Throne Room in Toronto, they really were impressive live, especially the lead vocalist and main guy behind the project, John Krieger, of which I am not gonna say his Mohawk stage name because it's too long. Anyways, that guy sounded freaking menacing. in a good way, like in a way that complements the music quite well. And for an example for that, that's very unfortunate because they're my #1 favorite band of all time. Asking Alexandria. I'm sorry to say this, but he's one of my favorite singers, but Danny Worsnop simply does not care about playing metalcore or even hard rock at this point. And he has not cared about that for years. He hid his face in a black hoodie and black snow gloves indoors during his performance with Asking when I saw them in Buffalo, New York 4 months ago. Like, Danny, what the heck was that all about, dude? I swear that when I met him after the show, me and my dad were the only ones who actually saw his face. I am still looking forward to Danny's new country album whenever it comes out because I love the guy's voice and he puts his all into his solo country stuff. Like, listen to Shades of Blue, that's actually a really good album. But man, it is so embarrassing being an Asking Alexandria superfan these days. I now know how Motley Crue fans feel about Vince Neil because it's a similar thing with Danny Worsnop in Asking Alexandria. What's a music taste that would really surprise people who know you? Being that I am a very well documented fan of melodic metalcore, I think people would be surprised to learn that I'm not as much of a fan of any of the Parkway Drive albums before Atlas. You can find pretty much that exact same sound from around that exact same time and even earlier from bands like Darkest Hour. I think the only reason that they got popular was because of where they was from in Australia, Byron Bay, and how they really helped to kickstart the metalcore scene down under, which I really do respect. I much prefer the more arena metal stuff from the transitional album Atlas and onwards, which, yeah, I know it's really corny, but it's fun to sing along to, alright? Next up, what's a music taste you've made in public that you'd love to take back? Well, anytime I used to praise the instrumentation and songwriting of any sketchy black metal band that I used to talk about when I was in my separate the art/instrumentation from the artist and lyrics phase here on my channel from about August 2022 to December 2023. I'd like to take all of those opinions that I had about all of those controversial bands from back then and just throw them away in the garbage. What's your favorite holiday song? The only holiday song I like nowadays, and I've always liked the song since I was a kid, in fact, it's Silent Night. Otherwise, I'm really sick of hearing Christmas music on certain radio stations starting every October. Like, why's it gotta be? Like every October or November, it just starts and I'm just like, please, anything but that, Have you ever been to a music festival? Yep, lots. My first festival ever was this one called Heavy T.O. that was held in Toronto at Downsview Park back in 2011 and 2012, and I was there both years. I was also at Warped Tour several times, both in Canada and in the US, 2013, 14, and 18 in Toronto, and 2016 in Darien, New York. I was actually up on stage with the metalcore band Issues at the 2014 Toronto date, who I really miss a lot, except for the lead singer being kicked out for being let's just say a PDF. And I met them a couple times after that. One of them being at that Darien date in 2016. I'm getting off track by saying this, but if Issues ever came back with a different clean singer, I will be first in line for those tickets, especially for the Toronto date, because that band is one of my all-time favorite bands. Like, they were so good, and I miss them so much. What's your favorite music video? Right now, I'm going to have to say the music video for the song A Pale Horse Covered in Blood from the metalcore band Better Lovers that had the singer from Dillinger Gate Plan and the backing band from Every Time I Die. On top of the song just being a banger, the music video had the band members playing in different colored rooms. It's just so satisfying to look at, and it's so much fun with them crashing into each other. Plus the frog in the music video as well. It makes me smile just thinking about it. It's just such a fun music video, and the band members look like they're having a blast filming it. Last question. Is there a song that always makes you cry? Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. It's such a beautiful song. It's also pretty mind-blowing that it was made back in the late 1960s, because it still sounds great today. Like, I start bawling my eyes out when that song plays. It's one of those songs that just stands the test of time, and Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel. Classic song. That's a wrap for this Q&A episode. If you want to use those questions to do a response video to Myke C-Town's video, you can use those questions. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe to Wheels of Mercury. I'm almost at 400 subscribers. In fact, I think I'm like 6 or 5 subscriptions away from that number. So if you'd like to help me get to that level, click the like button, do all that stuff. Rock on, guys, and I will see you in the next video.